Namaste dosto. Hope you all are safe. And today we will be discussing upon one of the important and I would say a confusing topic in GST, that is principal and agent relationship. इस पे बहुत सारे सर्कुलर्स आए इसको क्लेरिफाई करने के लिए एंड टुडे we will be discussing all these aspects in detail. And to discuss this topic, I would say we have a very special person with us. I would say both beauty with brains, CA Sonia ji from Jalandhar. So just to give a brief intro about her, she cleared CA and CMA in 2008 and is also the first female elected member of Jalandhar branch of NIRC of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and she is presently the vice chairperson of the branch. She is also appointed as faculty member of career counseling cell of our institute. So I'll not take much of her time, and over to you, Sonia ji.
Thank you, Aditya, for such a nice intro. And now I will not take much of the time and start the topic, which is seriously, you have said, it's needs so much of the clarity. What is an agent? The terminology in the common parlance, which is considered to be a very easy one. How complicated it has been framed in the GST, I am going to discuss with you all. Now, we all know in the GST, supply constitute three parameters. For a supply, there must be goods and services, and that supply should be in the course of furtherance of a business. And the most important is for a consideration. So, is there any case when there will be no consideration? Even then, it will be considered as a supply. Yes. Schedule 1, Section 7 deal with all the activities to be treated as supply even if made without consideration. So, what are those activities that came to your mind? कि consideration नहीं है, even then वो supply है and we have to pay GST on that. First one is the permanent transfer or disposal of business assets. As you all know, sometime a laptop or a computer on which input has been availed by the employer is given to the employee permanently, then GST is leviable on that. Second is supply of a goods or a services or both between related or between distinct person. Branch transfer, we all know earlier in the VAT regime, there is no need to pay VAT whenever there will be a movement of goods from one branch to another. But you can say the beauty or the blockage of the working capital in the GST, that for every transfer of goods between the branches, we have to pay GST. And the third and the most important, which I am going to discuss in detail, is supply of a goods by a principal to his agent, where the agent undertake to supply such goods on behalf of the principal, or supply of a goods by an agent to his principal, where the agent undertake to receive such goods on behalf of the principal. So, what point we get from this? First of all, this para deal with the supply of goods and not the services. So, in the case of services, consideration is must whenever there will be a exchange of a services or a supply of services from a principal to an agent and the consideration is missing, then it will not fall under this schedule. Secondly, they have told about two movements. One is when there will be a movement from principal to an agent, and second is agent to the principal. Principal to the agent movement is very much clear. Whenever a principal transfers some move some goods to his agent on behalf of the such agent undertake to supply such goods on behalf of the principal, the movement of a goods from the principal to the agent will be considered as a supply, and at the moment of a supply, GST has to be paid by the principal. And in the second scenario, एजेंट से प्रिंसिपल पे मूवमेंट हो रही है. एंड द थॉट कम टू आवर माइंड कि ऐसा कब होता है कि एजेंट से प्रिंसिपल की तरफ गुड्स आ रहे हैं. सपोज here the wording is whenever by an agent transfer the moves supply of a goods to receive certain goods on behalf of the principal. Now look at the example very carefully. Mr. A agent है in the Delhi and Mr. B is a manufacturer in the Punjab. अब मिस्टर बी जो पंजाब में है, ये मिस्टर ए को जो दिल्ली में है उनके एजेंट हैं, उन्हें बोलते हैं कि आप दिल्ली से गुड्स लें और मंथली बेसिस पे मेरे को यहाँ पे सप्लाई कर दें इन जलंधर. इन दैट केस B A will be considered as a agent of B, and this supply fall within the ambit of this schedule 1 and GST has to be paid. अब जब वो एजेंट मेरा मेरे को गुड्स मूव कर रहा है यहाँ पे, either there is no consideration, अब यहाँ से मैं उसे पहले मनी नहीं सेंड कर रही हूँ, even then that will be liable to a GST. अब अगर इसमें मैं थोड़ा सा स्लाइड चेंज लाऊं, रीजन क्यों, इतना सर्कुलर नंबर 57 आने का रीजन भी क्या था, बिकॉज देयर इज अ एम्बिगिटी बिटवीन कि एजेंट क्या है. एजेंट इज नॉट व्हाट इज इन द कॉमन पार्लेंस. अगर हम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट में भी देखते हैं तो एजेंट की सिंपल वर्डिंग होती है कि एजेंट मींस अ पर्सन हु इज डूइंग समथिंग ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ अनदर. इट मींस एजेंट वो होता है जो आपको बाइंड करता है और हमारे बिहाफ पे कोई काम कर रहा है. बट सर्कुलर ने कुछ चीजें बड़ी क्लियर कर दी. लाइक आपके कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं जो फूड फॉर द थॉट मैं कहूंगी, और मेरे को लगता है कि विद इन अ टाइम स्पैन ऑफ 10 to 15 minutes आई एम गोइंग टू रिमूव ऑल दीज डाउट फ्रॉम योर माइंड. आई ट्राई माय बेस्ट टू डू दिस थिंग. इफ इन द माय एग्जांपल जो बंदा दिल्ली में था, मैंने उसे बोला वहां से मेरे गुड्स परचेज करो, अपॉइंट किया है मैंने उसे एज एजेंट, और वो मेरे को इकट्ठे गुड्स वहां से देता है, तो जब वो मेरे गुड्स मूव कर रहा है मेरे को वो डीम सप्लाई माना जाएगा. अगर ये पर्सन अपने पास गुड्स ना मंगा के सिर्फ वहां पे मेरे को वेंडर को बोल देता, एलोकेट करता वेंडर, एंड उसके बाद अरेंज करने के बाद वेंडर को बोलता कि डायरेक्टली आप बी को गुड्स भेजो इन जलंधर मेरे, क्या तब भी वो मेरा एजेंट होना था? सर्कुलर 57 ने इसी केस को क्लियर किया, क्या वो एजेंट है कि नहीं. तो देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ एजेंट एंड अ प्रोक्योरमेंट एजेंट ओनली. He is deemed to be a procurement agent and not an agent as per GST. Procurement means he is only facilitating कि ना तो उसके पास गुड्स आ रहे हैं, ना वो रिसीव कर रहा है, और ना ही वो मेरे को सेंड कर रहा है. तो ये वाली चीज उसकी एक्सेप्शन में सिनेरियो नंबर 1 जो 57 सर्कुलर दिया है उसमें जो पहला एग्जांपल उन्होंने सिनेरियो 1 का दिया है वो यही दिया हुआ था कि अगर कोई भी एजेंट गुड्स ले रहा है, ठीक है, तब तो वो लगेगा. बट अगर अपने पास गुड्स नहीं ले रहा, सिर्फ अरेंज कर रहा है वहां पे वेंडर, और वेंडर को बोल रहा है कि आप डायरेक्टली प्रिंसिपल को सेंड कर दो, इन दैट केस that person will not be considered as a agent for the purpose of GST. Then second question is there any difference between an agent and an independent contractor? अब हमें लग रहा होता है मैंने किसी को ये काम दे दिया तो ये तो मेरे एजेंट ही हो गए कॉमन पार्लेंस में, बट इन द GST there is not like that. Very thin line of difference is there between an agent and independent contractor, and this is going to be a part of litigation also in the case of agent or intermediary also. Key the clarity you can take with the n number of we have been having so many example or court cases. I will refer in one and discuss with you in the later case ki how we can identify agent and an independent contractor. Then the second question came to our mind. Suppose I sell 1 lakh goods to you, being my agent. I supply goods of a valuing 1 lakh to you, and you further supply it to another person for 1,20,000. Now the question came to your mind: the turnover for the principal will be 1 lakh or 1 lakh plus 1,10,000. That is 2,10,000. What will be the aggregate turnover? Then the third one is, if I am saying it will be considered or deemed as a supply, then what will be the value for that supply? Now these all are the questions that came to your mind when we are discussing principal and agent. I'm going to explain all these things. So before that, you must having some knowledge of the definitions. Like section 2, subsection 5 of the CGST Act says agent means. Now here they are using a word means, a person, and again including. Including means it is not an exhaustive word. It means they are giving only example. It can be a factor, a broker, a commission agent, Arthia, Delcredit commission, an auctioneer, or any other mercantile agent by whatever name called. तो नाम क्या लिया जा रहा है, that hardly matters or is immaterial. The important thing is that person carry on the business of supply or receipt of goods or services or both on behalf of another. So for the agent, constitute an agent as per GST, the important thing is you are carrying on the business of supply or receipt. So you must be either supplying the goods or receiving the goods, and that too on behalf of another person. Then the principle, let me clarify you one thing. Principle have been used in the whole GST in two parlance. First is for the job worker also they have used the word principal, and for the agent also. So you have to bifurcate key where it has been used in context of the agent or in context of the job worker. Now principal means a person on whose behalf an agent carries on the business of supply or receipt of goods or services or both. So here they have means word have been used. It means it is an exhaustive definition. They have clear cut mention कि principal वो person होता है जिसके behalf पे ये agent किया जाता है, काम कर रहा है. तो इसका मतलब the important definition is of the agent कि agent क्या है. अगर वो किसी के behalf पे काम कर रहा है तो bit natural जिसके behalf पे काम कर रहा है that person will be a principal. Now why I'm saying this place of business linking with the agent and principal point. Now look at the point number 2C of a place of business definition under section 2 of 85. A place where a taxable person, place of business also include a place where a taxable person is engaged in a business through an agent. It means one, it is clarified he is an agent. Then the second thing is his place of business is deemed to be your place of business also, and has to be mentioned in your at the time of registration, or other if he became your agent after that, it has to be shown after doing the addition in that. Now if once you identify as an agent, he will be covered under section 24 subsection 7. Means every agent is required to get the registration. It means it is mandatory. The threshold limit is not applicable on agents. Compulsory registration means even when there is a transfer of a 1 rupee, even then he has to take the registration. So for that they have used a word, a person who makes taxable supply of goods or services or both on behalf of another person, whether as an agent or otherwise. He have to get himself compulsorily, mandatorily registered under section 24 subsection 7. So now aggregate turnover example I have already shared. Why it is important, I said if A is a manufacturer and B is the agent, when B receives 1 metric ton of from A priced at 1 lakh and B sells the same to the end customer for 1,10,000 but with the value of a consideration, is it 2,10,000 or 1,10,000? If you say 2,10,000, then the question is why 2,10,000? So why 2,10,000? If you go about the definition of the aggregate turnover, there they have read aggregate turnover includes all supply made by the person, whether on his own account or made on the behalf of his agent. Thus, the turnover of the agent will be included in the turnover of a principal, but it hardly matters when we are talking about aggregate turnover. Why aggregate concept of aggregate turnover is important? So let me discuss it. It is important for two things. First of all for getting the registration, And second one is for the GST audit. The aggregate turnover have a reference. Now, as I have told you, the question came to your mind whether he is acting as an independent in the case of work contract or another person, whether he is my agent or an independent contractor. So there is a case of Lakshmi Narayan Ram Gopal Das Sons Limited in the income tax also, where they have beautifully explained the difference between an independent contractor and an agent. So the line of demarcation, there is a very thin line of difference between employee. In this case, they have beautifully described employee, agent, and independent contractor. And here I have took up independent contractor and an agent. So the difference is, in the case of an independent contractor, you have given him the totally the independence regarding the periphery of the work. You have to simply give them the task. They have to produce the desired result. You don't interfere with them. But in the case of an agent, they are bound to exercise his authority in accordance with all the lawful instructions. The principal gives certain instruction to the agent, and the agent have to do work within that periphery. That is important. So whether he is an agent or an independent contract depend upon whether he is doing the work independently or whether he is getting the instruction from the principal. That is more important. Now, it's not about the way you are getting a mode of a payment is not at all a criteria. If you are making a fixed payment, you can't say he's our agent. And if you are giving a percentage, it can't be said he is an independent contractor. So the mode of payment is not at all considered. The area of work, how he is doing the work, the flow of a transaction, that is important. Now, if we look at the definition of an agent and an intermediary, you see certain things, and don't mix up agent with the intermediary, although they have written a word agent within the word of intermediary. First of all, intermediary concept is taken with the definition of I from IGST. So in the intermediary, they said intermediary means a broker, an agent, or any other person. So I think the definition of intermediary is right now much a part of a litigation nowadays, because the AIR which they are giving, they are all revenue broken and they are against this. They are considering every person as an intermediary. But if you go through the law, and we all know one rule of adjustum generis, which require that in the law, when a journal word is used after two specific words, so the law of interpretation said that that journal word is to be read in consonance with the above word. It means in the word definition of an intermediary, if they are saying intermediary means a broker, an agent, or any other person. Here, any other person, the word they have used, any other person, it is in relation with a broker or a agent as per the rule of adjustum generis. This, it means that a class of a group, they are representing, they are any other person, they are going to law. The intention of the law is to relate to that person who are acting as a broker or agent or whatever named called, who arranges or facilitate the supply of goods or supply, so goods or services or both, or security. So the difference between agent and the intermediary one is, in the definition of an agent, there is no point of a securities, but in intermediary, securities is covered. And secondly, the most important is to not to qualify as an intermediary, there is only one link, that is the last one, that a person who supplies such goods or services or both or security on his own account, only that person will not be considered as an intermediary if he is doing this transaction on his own account. So this is only a point of the litigation right now. We have to explain whether this is transaction on his own account, either it is on a P2P basis or a P2A basis. We have to explain that. There are so many of the cases. Taking the example of a Sunrise Immigration also, and there is a another AIR instead of GoDaddy also. Some are in the favor and some are the against that. But in the case of agency, representative hat is a must. As in the act also, agent is said to be a person who is going to represent us. But in the intermediary, they are covering that point also, even though they are not our agent. But all the advanced ruling, they are coming against this. They are not taking into consideration the part of our agent. That's why there is a difference of opinion regarding the relationship of the principal and the agent. When it will be considered as an agent or a principal, the department has to come up with the circular, and they come up with the circular number 57. In this 57, they have given an example, 4 scenario they have given. In the first scenario, they have given the example, as I said, in the first case, Mr. A is in Delhi and B, I am at Jalandhar, and I tell him to kindly procure some goods and send to me. In that case, he is my agent. But instead of telling him to receive and send me goods, he simply allocate the vendors, and that vendor directly send the goods to me. Then in that case, that agent is simply named as a procurement agent and will not come under the ambit of Schedule 1. Second case, suppose a banking company, they appoint some auctioneer, okay, to appoint to find out or locate a bidders for them. Now the auctioneer is simply allocating the bidders, they are facilitating the auction, and afterward the billing is done by the banking. In that case, auctioneer is not to be deemed as an agent of the banker. This have been discussed in the second scenario. But if there is a slight change, the auctioneer issue invoice or hand over the goods to the successful bidder, the highest bidder. In that scenario, he will be deemed to be the agent of the banker. So the crux of the in whole the scenario of circular number 57 is whether or not the agent has the authority to pass the title of the goods on behalf of the principal. And second is further issue of an invoice. That is the very important point. Whenever agent receive a goods from the principal, then the further invoicing is done in his own name or in the name of the principal. This is only a question which we have to look to see whether he is an agent or a principal of a agent of a principal or a not. So it can be depicted in this way. I have explained in this. Whenever there will be a good supplied from the principal to an agent without consideration, then the further invoicing, the thing is the further invoicing when the agent further sold the goods, whether the invoicing is done in his own name or in the name of the principal. If this is done in his own name, then the Schedule 1 will be applicable. Then what will be the impact? If the Schedule 1 will be applicable, then that agent is liable for compulsory registration, and the valuation rule 29 will be applicable regarding the valuation, that is 90% or the open fair market value. And if the further invoicing is done in the name of the principal, in that case, Schedule 1 will not be applicable, first of all. Secondly, if Schedule 1 will not be applicable, then that agent is not liable for compulsory registration. I am saying he is not liable for compulsory registration. But if his threshold limit exceeds, then he have to get himself registered. And the valuation rule 29 will not be applicable. In that case, valuation rule of a distinct person will be applicable. क्योंकि अगर आप इसको प्रैक्टिकली देखो, अगर मैं बोलती हूँ कि एजेंट ने अपने नाम पे बिलिंग नहीं की है, अगर अपने नाम पे कर रहा है तो ऑब्वियसली उसने अपना कंपल्सरी रजिस्ट्रेशन लेनी है तो उसका अपना जीएसटी नंबर होगा. अगर उसका अपना जीएसटी नंबर होगा तो जो अल्टीमेट कंज्यूमर है उसको जो क्रेडिट उसके 2A में रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा वो जीएसटी ऑफ द एजेंट होगा. बट इन द सेकेंड सिनेरियो, क्योंकि वो प्रिंसिपल के नाम पे बिलिंग कर रहा है तो जीएसटी किसका यूज हुआ? प्रिंसिपल का. और अगर हम बात करें विद इन द स्टेट और आउटसाइड का स्टेट की, तो विद इन द स्टेट अगर प्रिंसिपल का जीएसटी नंबर यूज हो रहा है, ठीक है, इन दैट केस उसको कंपल्सरी रजिस्ट्रेशन तो नहीं लेनी है, बट उसको वो वाली प्लेस अपनी एडिशनल प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस दिखानी है जो मैंने पहले बोला था, ऊपर डेफिनेशन में लिखा हुआ है। एंड लेटर ऑन अगर इंटर स्टेट होता है, अगर आपका एजेंट इस स्टेट में नहीं है, दूसरे में है, और वो वहां पे सप्लाई कर रहा है, तो आपको इतना पता है इंटर स्टेट मूवमेंट के लिए दैट इज ऑल्सो कवर्ड अंडर कंपल्सरी रजिस्ट्रेशन। whenever a person move goods from one place to another, then he have to do the get the registration. And this is the case, second case, whenever agent move the goods, after receiving the goods he have to move the goods to the principal, and that movement supply of goods will be deemed as a supply on which GST is to be levied. And in that case we have to look whether the further invoicing is done in the name of the agent or in the name of the principal, so the same thing will be applicable. So it can be concluded that the main issue is the invoicing. If the invoicing is in the name of the agent, then the rule schedule will be applicable. If the further invoicing is in the name of the principal, the rule will not be applicable. If the rule will not be applicable, you need not to get the registration. Applicability of valuation rule 29 will not be there. And as far as regard the liability to pay the GST, only principal will be liable and not jointly and severally. I will be discussing about the liability to pay of a GST. Now, notification number 12 oblique 2017, they have exempted services by an APMC or a board or a services provided by the commission agent for sale or purchase of agriculture produce. You all know agriculture goods are exempted under the GST. In that case, even in the circular number 57, they have given a scenario 4 also. In that scenario, they have took up the example of a AMC. In that case, as they are dealing with the agriculture produce, so this section will not be applicable, schedule will not be applicable, means that agent, even though I'm saying he is an agent, even though he is not liable to get himself registered, because if you look at the definition for registration, one who deal with the taxable supply, they have used the word taxable supply, and now here he is dealing with the agriculture produce which is exempted. So the agent of APMC, they have been specifically excluded. They are not required to get themselves registered. Now, as far as the valuation is concerned, because we are saying that will be deemed as a supply, and whenever there will be a supply, the question, second question came to your mind will be the point of the valuation. What will be the value? So the valuation rule said it will be the open fair market value if it is available, or at the option of the supplier. At the option of the supplier, it means they have given the discretion to the supplier. It's up to you. Either you want to take open market value, or second is the 90% of the price. Which price? Which they are charged from the, किससे चार्ज कर रहे हैं? सेम काइंड की, अगर सेम क्वालिटी की थिंग अगर वो अपने किसी कस्टमर को दे रहे हैं, और वो जो कस्टमर है आपका रिलेटेड पर्सन नहीं है, इन दैट केस उस पर्सन को आपने जितने पे चार्ज किया उसका 90% और फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू, ये आपकी ऑप्शन है, आप इसको लेना चाहते हैं कि ओपन फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू को लेना चाहते हैं। तो अगर इसको एग्जांपल में भी किया जाए, सपोज करो एक प्रिंसिपल अपनी सप्लाई कर रहा है ग्राउंडनट टू हिज एजेंट, और वो इसी काइंड की कितने पे सप्लाई कर रहा है? 5000 पे। एंड अनदर इंडिपेंडेंट सप्लायर, यानी कि उसका जो, अगर हम बात करें कि उसका ओपन मार्केट वैल्यू कितनी है, दैट इज 4550। इन दैट केस अब अगर देखा जाए 5000 है तो 5000 का 90% विल बी 4500। तो इस केस में वो कौन सी वैल्यू ऑप्ट करेगा? बिट नेचुरल, ही विल बी ऑप्टिंग 4500, दैट इज व्हिच ही इज चार्जिंग फ्रॉम हिज own client. Now, in the case of an agent, now we all are clear this person is my agent and he has to get his registration also. The thing is what accounts he has to maintain, because rule 56 sub rule 11 of the CGST Act says maintenance of records, accounts and record in the case of agent, that every agent shall maintain particulars of, सबसे पहले तो authorization received by him, कोई भी चीज उसके पास आ रही है या उससे जा रही है, उसकी सेपरेटली एवरी सच प्रिंसिपल से उसको ऑथोराइजेशन है। देन एवरी जितनी गुड्स रिसीव हो रही हैं या सप्लाई हो रही हैं, उनके पर्टिकुलर्स रिगार्डिंग उसकी वैल्यू, उसकी क्वांटिटी, उसकी डिस्क्रिप्शन एंड अकाउंट स्टेटमेंट उन्होंने जो अपने एवरी प्रिंसिपल को फर्निश की है वो क्या है, एंड द टैक्सेस पेड। अब एज फार एज द लायबिलिटी इज कंसर्न, तो ये लायबिलिटी का पॉइंट वाई आई हैव टच्ड, इसमें इंपॉर्टेंट क्या है, कहीं पे लॉ में ये लिखा है कि इतना हमें पता है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट में माइनर कैन नॉट बी अपॉइंटेड एज एन एजेंट, बट एज फार एज प्रिंसिपल जीएसटी इज साइलेंट, इट मींस प्रिंसिपल कैन बी अ माइनर आल्सो। तो अगर प्रिंसिपल माइनर है, in that case they have used the word कि who will be liable, तो जो jointly and severally word था उसकी इंपॉर्टेंस इसलिए थी कि अगर आपका प्रिंसिपल माइनर है, in that scenario agent will be severally liable। तो इंटेंशन क्या थी ये jointly and severally word यूज करने की, कि अगर हमें पता चल जाता है कि हमारा यहाँ पे प्रिंसिपल जो है वो माइनर है, in that case agent will be liable, and this is the case liability in case of an agent of a minor. Agent of a minor means when the principal is a minor. So section 91 of the CGT says if a person acts as an agent of a minor or other incapacitated person, then any other charges payable by such minor shall be recoverable from such agent under CGST Act. So I think all the concept is clear right now.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Aditya
much.
ji.
Thank you so much, Sonia ji. I think it was a wonderful deliberation on the most confusing topic in GST. And I would like to first of all thank you. आपने अपने, as we know that you are the vice chairperson of the Jalandhar branch, आपकी back to back meetings होती रहती है, आपने हमारे लिए time निकाला. So thank you so much. And now to all the viewers, I request you all to please subscribe our channel for getting regular updates on GST and other burning topics related to GST and other professional matters. Thank you so much, Sonia ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.